Hi, this is Steve Walton with Tropic Heating and PatioHeat.com. Today we're going to look at this restaurant patio proposal that we're going to do. First of all, we're going to look at the construction. Looks like it's going to be pretty much extruded aluminum beams on aluminum posts. So I think that's what our construction is. I'm not quite sure about the roof line, but I'm not too concerned about it. The client has told me that excuse me, the sides here will be isinglass, as well as this side here and this other opposite side over here. So they'll have roller isinglass that can come up and down for wind protection. There is a building approximately 8 feet apart from this structure that I'm not quite sure how tall it is, but I know it does reach quite a distance beyond this structure here. So real quickly, let's look at the dimensions. So I have a height of 11 feet, roughly a width of 23 feet 4, and then 57 4. Also just indicated the rough square footage of the patio space itself. So we have this 1,381 square feet roughly. I use a multiplier of about 275 BTUs per square foot, so I come up with a demand of 379, or we'll call it 380,000 BTUs. And if we use the 34,000 BTUs because of the height here that we're talking about, this 11 feet over here again, then we would probably end up with roughly about 11.16 units, the demand. So that's what we kind of start off with. And let me just turn that off real quick. So I'm going to go with my first preferred option. As you can see here, we have these beams that are running across here. So that's obvious mounting positions, but that's not always the obvious or best option for the heater. The heater has a certain footprint, so let's just go ahead and review that footprint. This would be my preferred layout for this equipment, so we can get a full coverage of the the full coverage of the patio itself. Because of the mounting height and the fact that the client has asked for a multiple purpose use area, so there's going to be seating around here, as well as seating around here, as well as I think a fireplace or a round fixed position over here. But they're also going to use it for other events, and they might want to have heaters on and heaters off for those different events. So he's asked for a total coverage, and that's why I'm placing the heaters in this configuration first, or this would be my first preferred. And as you can see again, if we just put the rays back on, we have a complete coverage of this entire space. Now you can see there's little spots here where there is neglected coverage. However, these beams are representing what the manufacturer says is the typical coverage. You are going to get a little bit further out than what it says. It's just not going to be totally usable, especially if you're just considering one particular unit. When you have in 3 or 4 units side by side, this area is going to be covered well. So one thing I didn't note yet is the height. The finished height of this particular application, let me just grab a spot here, is going to be roughly 8'7" and 3/8 of an inch. So I'll go back out of there. So that's again my preferred application. And another option, this would be my second favorite option, would be if you were to utilize the beams that you have here and here, and possibly add existing beams throughout the open spaces. So it would be a similar beam to each one of these. However, we're missing a greater aspect of this, and if I was to show you the layout of the seating, there's a lot of seating in this space here as well as over here, and so that's kind of a concern to me. So this wouldn't be the optimal application. However, seating can be moved, and that might be acceptable for this client. One last option, which would be my third option, my least preferred, would be if we utilize, I just have the brackets right here sitting out kind of floating, but if we were to utilize this beam to actually physically mount the heaters to it, you'll see that we have a pretty decent coverage. But the reality is that this beam of light, which when it travels to the outside edge here, you'll see that there's really not a full coverage here, even though it might appear that way. This is the furthest that beam is going to reach and be acceptable. So we have about a 4-foot height of space here that is really not being penetrated, and that's true with both sides here. So this would be my least favorite application, but it might also be the easiest to apply to this application, because we can just mount these bars to these these beams going across here, and that might work out just perfect. Now you might ask, well, why don't you put them on the outside edge and point them all in? I could do that, however, we will have the same issue. So we'll have this gap here right in the center of the patio, and I'm trying to avoid getting that gap there. These are all at 30-degree angles. We could lower this angle so we have a nice coverage in the middle, but then we'll have less outside here again. So again, this would work, but it wouldn't be a total coverage, and it wouldn't be acceptable on this outside perimeter here or this outside perimeter here. And but it would be a pretty easy application too for this particular job. So less construction, I think, would be the answer for that one. In any case, there you go. If you have any questions, or if you're looking for a design for your particular patio or restaurant need, please feel free to give us a call. I am Steve from patioheat.com and Tropic Heating here in Southern California. You have a great day.